It's time for another analysis video. Today we are taking in the Vetterli Deadeye, and we're going to be using that alongside a variety of other weapons. So we've got, I believe we use a shotgun, the Romero shotgun with slugs, and I believe at some point we also use a Spitfire Scottwell. So I'm using a level 50 hunter, so I appreciate this. You may not have all of these weapons at this point. However, I want to just talk about my decision making, and what we're doing. So straight away, I know roughly where people are spawning on this map. There's a really great maps online of where people spawn on the map, and it's really useful for getting getting used to understanding where people spawn in the map and where they don't. Okay, well, so yeah, I saw these people. I knew they spawned. There was a spawn point over there, so I obviously had to look. Saw them coming in. Obviously, I'm entertaining myself with taking some pot shots at them. So I fall back. I've made a lot of noise at this point, and people will run at noise. That is just the one thing that you really need to learn. If there's noise, if people think there's someone, they're going to run directly at that noise to try and get a kill, because that's what people do. People care more about kills than they do about bounty half the time. So I just fall back. I take a minute. I don't want to go into that complex with a scoped weapon and against two people. So I just fall back, and there we go. So this is a different set of hunters, because they're coming in from a different direction, and I'm like, is that a person? No, that's a zombie. But there, you just saw that flash there in that bush, and I can't quite see them. And I'm now getting shot from a different direction, and there we go. I'm just trying to stay in the bushes for cover. Best thing to do, if you're taking shots, couple of shots, shooting, but run away, because you are giving up your position when you're doing this. So I'm just constantly, at this point, I'm trying to rotate on the people who are third partying. And I heard that gunshot, yeah? I heard that gunshot, so I looked in that direction, I saw him. So now, I don't know whether or not that person's got something called Necromancer, if they're solo. So if they're solo, and they've got Necromancer, they can pick themselves up. If their teammate, if they've got a teammate, I'm playing duos. If they've got a teammate and they've got Necromancer, they can pick them up from a distance. So I'm just keeping the body covered. I can't hear anyone approaching.
I'm very concerned about the left of me.
But as you just heard, as I said, I'm concerned about the left of me, the people who are, shooting from them from that left-hand side, in those bushes. So I decided to fall back because I did take some shots there, and I'm just concerned. So we are playing Instinct. This is we're playing the obviously Tide of Shadows at the moment. So if you're watching this in the future, this may not be a thing. But we're using Instinct, which means that I can see people in dark sight from anywhere from about 75 meters away. So I know there's people around still, because you can see that orange glow on that dark sight there. Here they're approaching. So they're approaching the place where I last was. So I'm also using slugs in my shotgun, and armor piece and FMJ in my Vetterli.
Did she pick up her friend?
And I realised this is the duo that we had. And this other duo decided to come attack me instead of picking up their friend. which I personally always, if I'm playing a duo, if I'm playing trios, I will always prioritize trying to find the best way of getting my my partners up, because at the end of the day, greater numbers means you're going to probably have a bigger success. And honestly, that was just one of those, oh, there's a person standing in the trees, okay, and they're perfectly silhouetted. That was luck that I saw that. And obviously they saw me from the fighting. They were just, you know, hoping to get a kill, but they didn't stand up either. And so I will say, these are probably the kind of lobbies that you're going to be in when you start playing the game, or if you're in lower MMR. In this game, I was a 3 MMR, which means I was playing against 1, 2, and 3 MMR people, depending on, you know, if they're solo or duo. So I know there's people around still, but I'm assuming this person's a solo. I mean, they've got a sniper. So I decided to trap their bodies. It's really worth at least taking some form of trap when you get them unlocked. And, you know, do your best to go up to people who you think might be solo and trap their bodies if they're downed.
You're still on the
or at least keep them covered, because they're going to try and get up. And so I know there's other bodies over here. I can still see people on my instinct. I don't know where they are, but it's a faint orange glow. So they're pretty much on the edge of that 75-meter range, which means, you know, that's not actually that far away. They could be sitting in the complex, just the other side of that river there. But I really don't know. So I just stopped here to listen, and I can hear footsteps.
Don't like this.
And at this point, you know, I don't know where anyone is. I know that someone's close-ish, but I don't know where they are, because I've killed 3 people. I've only ever seen 3 people, and now this is 4th person somewhere, and that becomes a difficult thing to navigate, because at the end of the day, I'm out in the open here. This is a bizarre corner to fight in. You know, often you wouldn't be fighting around these
faint
forests.
They might be in Hemlock.
Yeah. Often you won't be fighting around these forests too often, unless something like this happens right at the beginning of the game. So at this point I think, right, I'm not going into Hemlock. I don't want to, you know, go that far. But I now see that the instinct has got stronger the further I move this way, which means they are close, and they're getting closer. And it would be absolutely foolish to start just running around now.
They're close.
Without knowing exactly where they are.
Close is.
So I'm staying crouched, I'm staying quiet. You know, if they do see me, they're going to pick me off. I don't know where they are, so I've just got to, you know, try my best. So that was a trap that I had placed on someone, and they tried to get themselves up. Or actually what I think happened was this other person tried to necro them to pick up their partner. Didn't realise that there was a trap on the body. And so I'm not really sure what happens here, but I'm sneaking, you know, I'm trying to listen for people, but I can't hear a thing. Trying to keep myself behind as much cover as possible. Switching to my shotgun here just in case they're standing behind these mounds. I know someone tried to pick up over there. It wasn't this guy. It was the one further back. I'm just trying to spot people. So this is a bit of an open thing, and I want to move away from there. So just going a little bit quicker over open ground. Probably shouldn't have crouched. Probably should have kept going here, because I get shot, and I've got no idea. And just then, only in this footage do I see that where that person was. They were just crouching by that tree. I had no idea. I couldn't see that at the time because I was obviously bleeding, more focused on getting out of damage. Or out of the firing range, but they didn't follow up. Or what they followed up was with a bomb. I thought maybe they were by this cart, but yeah, I didn't quite see that. And at this point, honestly, get out of there. If you don't really know where someone is, I would say you want to prioritize staying alive more than anything. If you don't get the bounty, that's fine. If you if it means that you're running away from a potential kill, yeah, that's fine. Prioritize survival. Your hunter, at the end of the day, is you want to get that level to level 50. You want to get traits on that hunter, because that's what's going to really help massively with movement.
I'm so confused.
Positioning, help you control your weapons better, and the more that you are able to do that and have those perks, the easier you're going to find a lot of your fights. So what I should have realised here was this person who got up was being necroed by their teammate who shot me. And they took the opportunity there to, while I was bleeding, while I was trying to heal myself, to go pick up their partner again and flee. And honestly, I think that's the right move that they made. They could have pushed me down, and they could have... Yeah, they could have pushed me. They could have taken me out while I was healing. But they prioritised their partner and getting their partner up. And honestly, I think that was exactly what they should have done. They knew they had bleed rounds on me, so I had to stop. I had to heal. And I was positioned in a way where I couldn't push that body. And they were, they shot me between their friend and where I was. So they had a perfect opportunity there to get their friend up. So I kind of assume that they've gone. I'm not seeing anyone in instinct anymore. So I move off towards the boss. At this point, I'm just approaching slowly. I want to get I don't really know what's going on over here. Is it just one person? Is it two people? Obviously, there's people in there now, and I know that, but this is the boss, so I kind of assumed. I'm wondering if that was someone who was wandering around, but realised it's just a zombie. And I can hear them running around. And as I say, I've got a Deadeye weapon, so pushing complexes with a scope isn't the best thing to do. You can really end up having these stalemate situations, which a lot of people complain about in the game, where you've got people with scopes who are sitting outside and people with shotguns sitting inside the complex waiting for people to push, and it. And then the people with scopes are like, oh, well, I'm not pushing that. They've got shotguns. And the people outside and the people inside are like, oh, I've got a shotgun. I'm not pushing outside. They've got scopes. It's one of these stalemates that happens an awful lot in Hunt. And honestly, it happens, and I think it's fine. There's an element of this game's got an element of patience with it. And if you're not willing to be patient, then that's when you end up dying, essentially, a lot of the time. Now, of course, if you're a crack shot, then, maybe you don't have to be patient. But this game isn't about running gun and, taking people out. It's all about patience. It's all about strategy. It's all about thinking. How do you approach these things with the tools that you have, with the guns that you have? Now, I do have a shotgun, so I feel like I can push in a little bit and just see, poke the bear, as it were. And I'm thinking maybe it's just one person at this time. So they pick up. And there, I've got a trait called Serpent, so I'm trying to Serpent the bounty, but the second person's there. And this is where I'm like, okay, this is bad. I'm on this bridge, there's two of them in there. It's not going to end up going well with me. My shotgun's a single fire shotgun, which means Romero is great. The Romero is absolutely fantastic, but you have to play it a little bit carefully, in the sense that you're firing it and running out and running away just so you can reload. And I'm checking the map, okay? You see, I'm checking the map a lot, and that's because I noticed that the other bounty, so there's two bounties on this map, the person who picked up the other bounty is actually now coming down towards this complex to attack the people at this complex. So you can see the distant thunderbolt there, and there, just where Nickel's prison is, you can see that's the other bounty coming down. And I know they're solo, and so I think, right, I'm just going to hang back a minute. I'm going to let this other bounty come down. Maybe I can maybe I can kill this other bounty, and then I will have a bit of advantage against these people as well. So I'm just going to be patient. They're sitting inside. They're not pushing out. Yeah? They're not pushing out. They've pretty much already established this by sitting inside after knowing full fact that I'm there. They will have done a spin inside. They'll have seen that I'm standing around outside. As a soloist, by the way, they've got the numbers advantage. They could easily push out. I don't know if there was anyone else around the complex as well that was stopping them from pushing out and attacking me. They would have known more than I did. But as far as I'm aware, I am the only person outside here at the moment, and they're inside. They could have easily ran out a different direction. Or they could have easily pushed me and probably won. So as I say, I've got FMJ in this gun. I'm just watching the cracks, seeing if they walk behind that door. Because you can kind of see if they do. And I figured, if I can, I'll take a pot shot, but I'm not too worried if not. So they're at the other end of the complex from me at the moment. And now I see, okay, the other bounties entered the fray. They're running around, and it's time for me to be more worried about the other bounty, because they're outside with me. And now, look, as I said, this is a low MMR lobby. Yeah, this is a 1 to 3 star MMR lobby. So, I don't know truly what was going on here at first. But this other person's on the other side of that building. I'm just checking to see, are they going to come in through the window? They're going to see that I'm there. They're going to have done a spin, hopefully. They're going to have known that, the two people in the building are one person's outside. if it was me, I would be more focused on the people outside at the time. So I thought maybe they'll jump in. There's a window on the other side. Jump in the window, go upstairs, and then take a look. But they didn't do that. So I just fall back. I'm rotating around. I'm trying to stay behind some cover here. Keep my distance a little bit because, you know, I am using a scoped weapon again. And now I'm just trying to get a visual eye on this other person. So they're throwing in here. And that was a poor shot from me. Twice, in fact. And there we go, finally got the kill. The wood really hurt my hurt it there. And so I don't want to get close. I'm just you know, surfacing the bounty, taking it from afar. Honestly, probably a bad idea because they got up. They were solo, and yeah, that happened. Honestly, that was a cracked shot with the crossbow. I sat down for a while. I actually died again and got up and they killed me and all these things happened. They stole my weapon. I'm down to this 1 bar of health. And by the way, you know, if you're really new, when you die, you lose a health chunk. If you burn for a long time, you lose health chunks. And so I'm now down to 50 health instead of 150. And so yeah, I decided to bail. Now, there was someone at the extract. And honestly, like, look, all forms of playing this game are valid. But the kind of the worst thing you can really do to make yourself just seem really toxic is camped extracts.
Just saying, extraction camping's not cool, dude.
And I don't know, someone was there. It's just not cool. It's not cool, you know. Ambushing people at the extract, yeah, it's a legitimate tactic, and sure, does it work? Yeah. Is it a bit, you know, is it not looked favourably on by the community? No, it's not, you know. But it's fine, you know, I didn't die, they didn't kill me. They were clearly waiting for the bounty, so, you know, if you want to play like that, you know, sure. You're not going to win any friends doing that. That's all I'll say. And, you know, you can make friends in this game, and you can make friends with people that you come across and have a joke with. And a lot of the time that can be pretty fun. I will often, you know, talk to the people around me and just, you know, if I'm sitting in a complex with a shotgun and people are outside, I'll be like, hey, how you doing? So yeah, we approach this next game. So here I'm setting some traps before I fight the boss. And really think about your trap placement. Try and find places where either they're not going to be seen so easily, or they're going to be in a place where they're unexpected. So no one's around, nothing's happening. So you know, I'm just gonna take the assassin out here. You know, you can see on Dark Sight it's clear on Instinct, it's clear on the bounty. So I'm not going to talk about, you know, defeating the bosses at the moment.
I hate you, zombie.
That was annoying.
Absolutely.
I trapped the zombie, not. Yeah, so I'm not going to talk about how to beat the boss at the moment. We can, if you want videos on killing bosses and how to kill the different bosses, you know, the best ways, the best strategies. you know, leave a comment below, and maybe I can do that. That would be kind of fun. But for now, you know, just taking the boss out. Boss is Banishing. You know, I'm just having a quick look around to see if there's any like other bear traps or, you know, maybe ammo boxes that I can use. But I realise my ammo's full. Any loot boxes. But I also find a hammer. And now, so in this video, I'm also trying to complete an achievement, which is to kill someone by throwing a hammer using the tomahawk trait. So this is why I stand here with a hammer in my hand, ready to throw for a little bit. And so this is one of the entrances people like to sneak into, and also the fact that the bounty died just there. I kind of knew this is where someone was going to push. So I decided this is going to be the place where I stand right up against this corner to hopefully get a surprise and, you know, get the jump on someone. So someone's approaching. It's instinct. I can hear also there's an altar from the event as well. And also then I can hear those footsteps. And now this guy was streaming. I've actually seen this guy's point of view, and it's really funny. He moves over and looks down at my angle and doesn't see me, which is insane to me. So, you know, really check your corners, because you can't necessarily always see all corners here. So I'm just being patient. I'm not, obviously, I know he's there. He's got a shotgun. I can see it's a Romero. Take the opportunity to throw the hammer. Didn't get the hammer kill, which would have been fun. I decide, you know, he's down. Probably a solo. Probably going to get up. This was the worst move I could have made.
Damn it didn't kill her.
So I'm just being patient. Oh, I beg you, please get up. I really want this hammer kill. Been trying to get this achievement for so long. So I know no one's around, so I'm just, you know, taking my time.
Oh, you probably don't have necro.
Hoping that they get up. Now, the one thing, if you do take Tomahawk, it's a funny trait. Also, just in the background, can you hear that altar is starting to go off a little bit? There's someone else around. As I move forward though, so they're definitely south, or like southeast. Take the opportunity to throw again, didn't happen. Missed my shotgun shot, tried to hit them through the fence, didn't work. I snuck out, and this, yeah. So the mistake I had there was trying to chase them. That was the worst. Well, honestly, the biggest mistake there was not trapping them. And so yeah, that happened, and I waited for quite a while and then revived myself. That one took one of the bounties and left, and this is the other person that was approaching, and they just took one of the bounties and started leaving, and I decided, right, time to get up and push. So now what actually happened there was that the girl got up, tried to shoot me with her Romero. She had already fired, so she had nothing in the chamber. So clicked and then snuck out, and then in my panic of not killing her with the hammer, because I just assumed that was going to kill her, I fumbled my shots, made a really bad decision of trying to follow her, and yeah. So if you're chasing an enemy to an extraction, if you're close enough, you can actually block them. There we go. You can actually block them from extracting. And so I was close range, you know, I pulled out my shotgun and they decided to walk straight into it. Why? I don't know. I really don't know. As I say, these are low MMR lobbies. You will find that there's a lot of people who aren't, you know, who aren't used to the game, potentially like yourself if you're watching this, and that's okay. You know, the idea is that, you know, I'm hoping these videos are going to help you guys learn about the game, about some of the mistakes I make as well, because I make these mistakes myself. You know, I am very much not the best player in the world, but you know, I try and learn from what I do and my mistakes so I become a better player. So we're about halfway into this game, and very uneventful so far. I've just got a couple of clues. But I approach this clue here and work out that this is the boss. But there are people around. You can see once again I've got instinct, very useful in this event at the moment. Got some shots going. I hear the horse, and what I'm doing is moving more towards the horse at the moment than the people in the complex, because it means that there are people outside in these bushes, which is way more concerning to me than the people inside the complex. At the end of the day, the people inside the complex aren't a threat because they've got more important things to worry about. People pushing them and the boss itself. You know, the most dangerous piece of AI in the game. And so my plan here is to move around the outside and try my best to take out as many different people outside the complex first, so that I can then push the inside the complex without having to worry too much about, you know, being third-partied. Now this complex is surrounded by water. So any footsteps in the water gives away anyone's position. These were just bad shots. I didn't need my shots. So with FMJ ammo, the special ammo, you typically have a slower muzzle velocity, which means that your bullet travels slower than a regular bullet would, which means you have to lead your shots, which means, you know, if you're not familiar with that term, which means moving your crosshair in front of where, you know, your target is. And I did not do that at all there. It's something that depending on the weapon, you know, need to get better at myself. And that just comes with practice, in all honesty. So I know there's still people outside the complex while there's still people inside the complex. So once again, focusing on the people outside, I'm rotating round. I'm not doing a very good job of staying in cover, I've got to admit, but I realised that here that, you know, I wasn't going to be in cover, so I decided to come around the back of this little mound here. And the reason I'm sneaking is just because the water makes so much noise. And, you know, I'm trying to pick these people off quietly, or as quietly as I can. So if you ever see me pause, often I'm just trying to listen, just trying to find any context about where they might be. And I've got a vague idea that they're in this direction, in these bushes somewhere. So I'm just trying to see if I can see anything that looks strange. And then we get walking. Now honestly, I'm not quite sure how that wasn't a headshot. I think maybe I was just a tad too low and it hit his shoulder. But again, soloist, expected soloist, you know, time to drop some traps. And sometimes dropping traps can be really, really dodgy. Like, I kind of wish you could just place them. There we go. I find some way of managing to place those two traps. And so I'm placing a concertina trap and a poison trap there. These in the community are typically known as death traps, because a concertina and a poison trap will pretty much kill most people straight away, unless they've got any poison resistance. Heading closer this way, the altar starts going off. There is someone close by, really close by. I'm just trying to find anything, any clue, any idea that there's where that person is. Because it's just not obvious. So a bit of context, you know, there's a guy down there. Notice the way his feet are pointing, and look at where I start looking based on those feet. People die with their feet pointing towards the angle that they got shot from, or where they died from. And now here we see this person running in, and I thought that person was the reason, but apparently not. So I try and get up a couple of times, and time passes between these, by the way, after self-reviving with Necro, and a lot goes on, and I'm sitting there listening. There we go. I knew there was still someone around, but I had to trap, and it turns out there was just this one person who, you know, crouching. I had the Scotfield Spitfire here, and the Spitfire is insanely fast at this you know, very close range. You know, I was able to hit them, set them on fire with the incendiary rounds, and get a second shot off. And so now I'm like, okay, I'm down 3 small bars, so I'm at 75 HP at the moment. I don't want to go up against another person, because honestly, that's not going to end well for me. So I take this opportunity to kill the boss. I kill the boss. There's one person still floating around, and you can see when I do a spin here, over in that direction towards Reynard Lumber, there was someone. And I was like, okay, it's a solo. I think I knew who it was. I think it was that Fellis that was entering when I shot and I got killed by someone else from behind me. So much happened in that moment, but yeah. And so, yeah, I run down here. I'm going to extract, but I also see these 2 people sitting at Cypress Huts, where the extraction is that I was going to head to. And I thought, right, you know what? I'm going to go grab some clues. Let's just see where the boss is. And lo and behold, Cypress Huts. I've taken a picture, I've taken a Davant. Cypress Huts was where the boss was. So I loop round, they start fighting the boss, and I know they're busy fighting the boss, so I come take the clue just so I can get a 2 seconds of dark sight because I've got Magpie. And they're fighting. I'm like, well, you know what? Perfect time to push them. I have a frag left, so I throw a frag in. And in all honesty, I felt so bad about this kill, because both of them died to the frag. And like, yeah, it's a little sad that happened and that they were just so easily taken out. Like I said, these are low MMR lobbies. And I feel really bad because I looked onto the post-game summary, and it turns out this was like their third boss that they were trying to banish ever. You know, they've probably done, you know, at most 5 games so far. And the fact that they had waited so long to attack the boss with no one else around, with no context that anyone was there, you know, in the game told me that they weren't confident at the moment with the game. And
I'm so sorry, guys.
Yeah, and so I try and I just in VOIP I just like say, yeah, sorry, because I did feel bad. But it's a learning lesson. You know, they weren't paying attention to the fact that I was there, that I was around them. You know, you can see on the map when where a bounty is because of the lightning bolt. Pay attention to that, especially if you know, you're going into a boss there, you're trying to defeat the boss. If they're close, don't attack the boss. It's not worth it. So yeah, probably my most satisfying frag grenade kill that I've ever had, unfortunately. If this was high MMR, I'd have been laughing my head off, but just because it was, you know, these people hadn't been playing much, I just felt really bad. But you got to watch out for this stuff, yeah. You got to pay attention to the bounty. It's a learning lesson on the game. You got to pay attention to where the bounty is. You got to pay attention to, you know, if you hear a frag noise, run. You have to pay attention to these things. It happens.